welcome to Breakfast at Mom's. I'm Mom, aka Sandra, and these beautiful ladies are my daughters and daughter-in-laws. So we wanted to welcome you to our second episode, and this week we're going to talk about how to build a close-knit family. So hopefully that's something that that you like to talk about. I was just thinking about this. In 2020, we did a family photo, and you held up Hersey number 12 coming in 2020. So we did it in 2019 probably. Hersey number 12 coming in 2020. We are 2024. We went from 12 to 16 people. So we have really grown. So, and I have this happen to me a lot. People have always asked me, my friends have asked me, how do you keep your family so close? Now, we all do live here, but even when you've lived away and you've lived away, so even when you were gone, we were able to do that. You couldn't be here but one of the things we do every week, which I'm sure we're going to elaborate on, is how it started, honestly, was Rick, my husband, had an aunt who her family every single week did family day after church. They had, everyone was there, all the children, all the grandchildren, and every once in a while we would be very fortunate to be asked to come over. And I just thought, this is the craziest, wildest thing. Then on Christmas Eve, we would do, now we didn't with you because we stopped doing all that by then, but can you remember going on Christmas Eve and going to Aunt Myrtis's and going to different places? And
tons of fun.
And so we would go over there and they all spent the night, which is probably going to be, Flea's going to want to talk about this. And we call Felicia Flea. Guess I should reiterate that on Christmas Eve, everyone spends the night at Gigi and Poppy's house, and we do all of our Christmas there. But we won't talk about that now. But
it's my favorite time.
It's definitely going to talk about that. But my friends would say, "How do you do this?" Now, in the beginning, it was tough because these kids were, Alyssa was very little, and
the youngest. Once again, I just want to reiterate that I am the baby.
Okay, in a year from now, you're going to be in your 30s.
But still the baby.
Yeah.
So,
maybe 30.
Right. So the kids they were teenagers. I think you were probably teenagers, huh? Except for Trevor. So, of course, Pastor Trevor gave me the hardest time. I probably cried a lot of family days because you're dealing. Kids, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to. Oh, you can't go off on Sunday. You have to stay here with your family, and we're going to eat together, and we're going to do this.
Let me live my life.
Let me live my life. If I heard that once from him, I heard it every single time. And then I ended up in the bathroom crying. My husband's in there. He's back out yelling. Y'all are not going to make your mother cry. We're doing this family
Sounds
day.
about right. Sounds about right.
It sounds like fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, love family time.
So that's how it really started. But in all honesty, now the child that gave me the hardest problem is probably the biggest advocate for family day when we don't do it. So we do that. And then when Brooks came along, I was like, oh my gosh, how is she going to feel about being part of coming into this?
Don't worry.
Well, it was my first date, so I think it was just meant to be, right?
Yeah, Brandon, hardcore brought you.
My first date was picked up, brought over to the house, and we had family night.
So you had no choice.
That was it.
Yeah, and then your next date was, I'm not dating. I'm looking for a wife to marry, and so
he's bold, he's straightforward,
but he's a no nonsense kind of guy, and now it's over 10 years.
That's right.
So I guess it's stuck.
10 years, over 10 years
I think
married.
it was the family night.
Yeah, I think so too. So over 10 years married. So I just, my heart was like, oh my gosh, this girl doesn't want to come to this in the first time. But hey, of course, when Felicia went on her first date, Trevor calls, come meet us.
So we did. We all of us.
Top
No,
Gosh.
that was our second date. That was our
okay,
second
okay.
date.
That's right. Your
Top
second
golf.
date. And I thought,
remember.
this girl does not want your entire family
We're just
invading.
a little aggressive. Candace and I shielded our husbands from all of that. I will make that blatantly clear. But I
mine
will
would.
say that anytime I would FaceTime the family, Trevor purposefully would put their son Chasen on and be like, call him Uncle Dale. Call him and I'm just now dating this guy
This was
who I wanted to
living.
date forever. And I was like, you're gonna scare him. Stop.
Yeah.
Luckily, mine already was knew
saying-
the family.
Oh,
the
yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
Colby
Well,
was
on
already
that
part
whole-
of the family. He,
Yeah.
So he already knew what he was
Yeah.
getting
He was
into. So-
friends with Brandon and Brooks, and he worked with Brandon, and so they were already friends. So he was already kind of aware of how we are because we're a lot.
just tad.
It's not the sum of the beginning of this episode. So we're a lot.
How to build a close knit family. So we just, I don't know if there's this is how you do
Like
it.
a formula. to
Right,
it, yeah.
but this is just what we did. I
when
am
you're young.
so grateful that I stuck to my guns and really wanted what I saw with our aunt, with Rick's aunt and her family, and I stuck to my guns. I want this for my kids. People would tell me, you can't make your grown children come stay with you at Christmas. Well, I didn't make them, but and I'm just so grateful that when all, Dale and Colby and Brooks and Felisha, when they came into our family, that they were like, okay, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Oh, I show up December 1st with my bags packed. Like, all right, moving in. It's Christmas time.
And I think as you were saying that, I think it's more of let's just say, just for instance, let's keep it backtrack for a second. She taught us when we were a little younger. Let's just say you're trying to build a family now, and you are older, and it is like this. It happens. There is ways to do it. I feel like in my way, it's more like activities. Make it fun.
Right.
Maybe in the beginning, don't do so many hours. Like we multiple hours hanging out together. Maybe
Right.
just a little bit of hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
That's
maybe just a
good, yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
of something.
Right. Yeah.
Because it is overwhelming. It can
Yeah.
be too much. And I can't believe he just said that.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah,
get on each other.
It's a dynamic, which we're going to talk about in one of our episodes, is the majority of people in this family work together.
Yeah.
And so,
all the time.
some of these family members see each other 7 days a week.
Hey,
So not
girl.
only do they work a job that they get a paycheck for, but we also volunteer together, putting, doing the church. And so, we are together a lot. Thank God we love each other.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, yeah.
do we ever have a disagreement at a family
Never.
outing?
That has never happened.
I would love
Do
to say
people
that.
leave crying?
Yes, mad. Yes. So we've had very few of those have
Those are
actually
far in
ever
between,
ever
yes.
happened.
That's just that's
Yeah.
being around people.
right.
Like,
yes.
I mean, we're from
We're
every
different
people from every part of the
personalities.
world.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Different personalities.
I think about just being a mom of a 9-year-old who thinks that I am the uncoolest thing ever. It is to picture that. It's okay, one day he'll grow up and be like, okay, Flea, you are cool. I want to hang out with you for hours.
Yes. And I am blessed that my daughters and daughter-in-laws love to hang out. So we do things more than the men do together, but we do a lot
planners.
of things together. we have tea and we go to dinner.
We
and
love to shop.
we do stuff together. Just the girls and children stay with boys, and then Alyssa's husband's always, why are we never doing anything?
And we just got a new game we're going to learn to play.
Yes.
I've learned the instructions.
Yes.
So we're good. We're
I'm
ready.
intrigued. I
I'm
want to know.
very excited. We're going to be playing
Mahjong.
Mahjong.
The American version, which is very
Okay.
different than
specific.
all the other. Yes.
All right,
yes.
so
Oh,
thank
dear
God.
Lord.
Just so you know.
We've
Thank
already
God,
learned the first rule.
Thank God our living Google
Yes. Thank
has
you, Lord.
figured it out.
Researched it.
for us. So, all right. So, what advice do you think that we would give someone who wants to build a strong, close knit family? Because we do realize that everyone doesn't always have that. So, what advice? Anybody?
I think it's sacrifice. No matter what, when you say yes to something, you're always saying no to something else. So on Sundays, when we say yes to coming over for lunch, it's no to binging whatever show we're watching on Netflix or taking a nap. But that's the effort we put in because we love our family dynamic.
That's true.
Right.
That's
I
good.
also think communication.
Yes.
huge,
Yeah.
as you say, because I don't know what Felisha wants, like, or I don't know what you want, like, communicate. I'm not a mind reader.
Right.
You know, that would be a fun thing to have, but just say, hey, I really enjoy if you come over today. Like, if that's how you start your family, say, I really want you to come over.
Right.
Oh, what's good? When you come over, let's watch the football game.
Yeah.
And like you say, that goes along with it. And
Or play cards. Or
have an activity.
or it doesn't have to be a long time. Because, we had to ease Colby in. And he's still being eased in. He's
an introvert, by
he's
the way.
very
He's
much an
just
introvert, and he's not from a big family like this. And we are all about each other. And if a child has a game, we're at a game, we're doing this, we're doing, we just do that. So it's a lot for somebody who has never done that. So then you said that a few minutes ago. Make it in smaller time frames. You don't have to come and be the first one there and the last one to leave. So just do what you can do. And then now, as the family dynamic has grown, Dad and I have had to accept the fact that sometimes we just don't get together on that Sunday.
That was my point, was going to be to adapt and evolve.
Yeah.
I mean, we went from being, the 8 of us when I started this, 10 years ago, to 16. And there's babies and there's nap time and there's different things going on. And, with my husband not being there on some weeks,
right.
There's sometimes it's just I'm not able to get there just because I can't be everywhere at once when he's not available. So for everybody in that family dynamic to understand, like, hey, it just may not work.
Right.
But
or you're exhausted.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think
let's relax.
It's that intentionality and that effort that you do try on the days that you can.
Yeah.
Something super practical that we all do is have a family chat. Like that is something that it is. Listen, it is a blessing and a curse, all wrapped in one.
Silence it if you have to.
You do. That is true.
Silence.
There are definitely.
Don't leave the chat. Just silence.
Leave the chat. Just don't do it.
Rule number one:
Listen.
never leave.
We're not naming any names.
Bless his soul.
Here's why though, is because it is so, there's 16 of us. It is so hard to be like, okay, this week, did I talk to Mom? Did I talk to Flea? Did I talk to Brooks? Did I talk to Candace? There's no way. Like, there's no way that we could check in on every single individual family every week. And what would eventually happen is it would be, a month down the road and we would be like, oh, I finally got to see you because we're so busy. And what did you do this past month? Like, that is crazy. So for us, we really do utilize the chat, not just to be like, hey, here's some information, but to be like today, we went and we started a garden. My husband and I did, and I'm very proud of it. But the first thing we did was we took a picture and we put it in the family chat. King had a game today. Brooks was like, hey, here's the score of the game. So we weren't all there, but we all know what's going on. And that, I feel like, is key, especially when you have a very large family like we do.
Also, in this large family, read the messages not in a tone, like read it very confidently. So you're not getting offended by our
We're going to make a separate episode just for members of our family.
How to read a text
and
message.
when certain people write okay, don't read it as okay.
Oh,
okay.
Felisha
yes.
did not want the letter K.
Do not send me
Mom
K.
and Dad are notorious.
I don't have time to write. Okay.
And you're like, wow, what did I do wrong?
I will text back or call in a heartbeat. Is everything okay? Like, you just K'd me.
And keep it light, people. I'm just saying keep it light.
Right. So you learn this. So then that goes into how do you balance individual needs within the family?
We're all very needy.
Felisha needs you not to put the letter K because she feels like she is upset. So
yeah,
I
think it really comes down to when you spend time with people, you learn what their kind of tics are, the traits they have, the things they love and hate. And sometimes you learn, okay, I'm not going to text that. But on the flip side, Flea will learn, okay, when Mom and Dad put that, they're not angry at me. No. Like, that's just learning who people
We had to learn that and teach Mom when she says things like that.
I've been told put more emojis in my text message. Listen.
Exclamation mark. If there's not an exclamation mark, I'm like,
Did she read
wrong?
it?
Now, as I'm talking to Siri, everything's LOL. I'm trying. Not.
Oh, Siri and you
Okay,
have a great
Mom
relationship.
and Siri is
do not
not
get
a good
along.
mix.
No,
I wanted to touch
Siri
on that
makes you
also,
look
too.
stupid. I feel like sometimes. Anyhow, we won't even go on that.
Yeah,
so,
Candace was going to say.
Getting back to, like you're saying, like the balanced individual needs, it's not just our family, it's your individual family too. I took it as, like, I always say, I always like to put Brooks on because she has calendars and things and to-dos, and I know Trevor loves a schedule. Mine's very small family. I have only 3 of us, and I have 2 dogs and a cat. I mean, I'm a animal lover, but just balancing your to-dos list and like, okay, today when I get home, I have to focus on Roxy. All right, Roxy's my 16-year-old daughter, and just what does she need to do today? Like, okay, focus on. All right, does Colby need anything else done? Okay, when that's all done, then I can worry myself. I know we're also tending to like worry about priorities, but that's how you really have to all balance yourself and not go insane or like this has to be done. And I think that's really takes. And if you tell your member of your family or your spouse and saying, hey, this is what has to get done today. So if you can help me out, because today I'm only like 30% myself today because I'm having a really rough day. If you could just help me out with that extra percentage, I would greatly appreciate it. Yeah. And I think balancing yourself and just communicating.
Like you said
exactly. Like communicate.
So like Candace said, so being with Brandon being in the fire service, and I know a lot of first responders this way, they work in 72-hour intervals. It's like they know 3 days what they're going to do, and then they don't want to talk about it after that. And that doesn't work for us, right? So Candace is always laughing because I've got 7 calendars out and I'm planning the month, for the next 3 months and where everybody's going to be. And as a mom does, like, you guys know, like everybody has a place to be. And as a mom, you're kind of in charge of all of that.
I'm learning that.
At least you are in this dynamic.
But Candace and I work together, and every morning she walks in and she goes, all right, what's on your to-do list today? And she's really great at helping me with that communication and helping me balance those things of like, all right, these things are the priorities, even here and even at home. And how are you going to, take that time to make sure? But I think at home, individually, in our little family, like we have a station, a communication station, if you say, like that has the calendars up there. So even though Brandon's only working in this 3-day interval, at any point, if he got, like a inkling to want to go look, it's there, right? It's there for him so that we can all stay on the same page and balance each other's needs, with him in classes and working, and, King's got, all of his different sports, and is Flea picking him up that day, or is the nanny, or what's going on, so that we can all stay sane in the world, busy, fast-paced world that we live in. A communication place and the priorities and all of that is really big. But I also think like leading with grace in that, as a wife, you are kind of in control of it all, but, and sometimes the guys just can't handle all of that extra. They're not built for that. Yeah. And so it's like, when they do ask 18 times what's happening the next day, or they're not on the schedule, like giving them that grace to be like, all right, I know your mind isn't focused on this, exactly. to work with that.
All right. Family traditions, favorites.
Well, I was to say, let me start this one off. Mine is starting from September, because that's, mine, Trevor, Madison's birthday goes into Chasen's birthday. Then we have Halloween. I love getting dressed up. Let's go in the neighborhood. And again, as a family, we all go to one person's house and we sit there. We take the littles out to trick or treat, and then we come back and we just hang out together and pass out candy. And then it goes into Thanksgiving. Again, I show up the week of and just stay at Mom's house. We cook. We have honey baked ham, because if you don't have that and you do not have a real turkey. I
think we're discovering some hurts in our family in this podcast.
Well, we brought back the real turkey.
Delicious.
We did. Delicious. And then there's that. And then there's Christmas, where we spend the night on Christmas Eve. I love it. It's my favorite.
Wake up on Christmas morning. Yeah. Does anybody else have a favorite tradition and family? Christmas is a big place.
That's such a big thing. I think for me, doing Sundays after church, even though we're not always there, like Mom was saying, it's definitely an evolution of our Sundays afternoons. But I can remember being in high school and this really being a thing that it wasn't even just our family. It was whoever in the church that we had invited to come have lunch. Like, I loved that, even growing up. And then being an adult, obviously now we have kids with nap times, and sometimes we just all need a nap. That's okay. But I still really do enjoy being able to go home. For us, like, we debrief what happened on Sunday morning and then just hanging out for a little bit of time. Like, that is, I don't know if that's a tradition, but I guess it would be.
For us. We make it a tradition.
When I was I'm going to take it back. When we were little kids. Taking it back. When we were little, I think, like we were going on all the holiday stuff, is we used to like ride around and look at Christmas lights together.
Yes.
And it's Super fun.
I love that.
Music was playing in the car, and all you hear is mom and dad going, turn to the right. And we go, ooh. And then turn to the left. And they're like, ooh, and it was like a whole thing going on. And then another one was, I always loved candlelight service at church. It was probably one of my favorite ones.
Christmas.
It really like gets all in that holiday spirit.
Yes.
So
It's good. I will say too, because you're talking about us as kids, I think a lot of us have individual traditions with our small family. Like it's not just
It's not just us.
the big family. I think that's key too. Like Candace was saying before, like it's not just, okay, what is the large family going to do for every single holiday, but taking time to think about, okay, what do I want to do with my like little kids or my teenager or my,
you know what I mean?
mean?
New traditions. Guys.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Well, talking about kids, so when this question was brought up, I brought it to the house, to Brandon and to King, and it was funny to see that our traditions that we've started are now moving on to them. And
That's
as
awesome.
King is 7, he's forming his own opinions and things, and his favorite thing is taco night.
So funny.
It's an interesting subject.
Wow, we are airing out our grievances. Bring it back.
So not only do we
Somebody
do
hasn't been doing taco night every week.
But I think
go
it's
for some
because
tacos now.
for him on Tuesdays, he knows that those are the days that his Aunt Flea picks him up from school, and that he gets to spend that
All
time
right,
with
we're
his
doing
cousins.
taco night again because
For
King,
Kingston.
that's his favorite.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, this whole like flag football season, because practice was on Tuesday, he wanted me to call Uncle Trev to make sure that we changed it from Tuesday.
Oh, bless
and I was like, we
him.
don't
All
have to
right,
we're-
Tuesday night, taco night. You're invited.
Here's a sign, because I cooked tacos the other night at the house, and every time we have taco night, we have it at my house, and we always eat in the formal dining room. Maddie's like, we eat at that table, my daughter, and I'm like, no, not tonight. And I'm like, oh man, like.
But I think it's so cool that even the kids are picking up on those things. And that's how I think, we talk about creating a close-knit family and how we did it, but it's like, how do you keep it going? And I think it's showing that for them, that they're already building that together.
That's good.
So
Mine, before we move on, is family vacation.
Oh, that's super fun.
I
Amen.
love family vacation
I feel
together.
the Lord in here.
Yes. Amen.
We do that. We take one family vacation. Now everyone takes their own little mini whatever, their own vacations as their individual families, but we do a big family vacation and I love it.
Yeah.
So it is my favorite thing, how to do that. So so real quick before we end up, how do we show appreciation and support to other people in our family? Because that's tough.
Yeah, I think it's verbal. I think it goes verbal. If you actually know your love languages, your 5 love languages, that's very helpful.
Very
in this,
important.
like, appreciation, verbal appreciation, mom gifts. If practice at mom, she wants some gifts. But
My daughter has, I think, taken that.
Well, she is my mini-me.
Yeah, I think it's just verbal communication. Even if it's a little text, I love you, hope you're having a great day. I appreciate what you're doing for the family.
Yeah.
Or, it's okay to have a bad day. Just
Yeah, so
a
if you
little
have
something.
not read the 5 love languages,
Please read it.
read the 5 love languages. Learn what your spouse's love
have one for
languages
kids,
and your
too.
children and children, and it's very important. I could do a whole teaching on that. I
sure
just
about
feel
more of
that
it
that
later on.
is a way to know how to love someone, because we all receive love differently, and just because we give love one way doesn't mean that I can love Alyssa and my love language all day long, but if it's not her love language, then she might not feel loved as she needs to. But so that's so important.
In our house, we are constantly, I love you is said so much in our
Yes.
house. And I think as I was preparing for this, I was looking in the Bible, and I love this verse, Romans 12:10. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. And in our home, it is, I love you.
Take delight in honoring each other.
that's big.
And so you mess up anything, I'm sorry, I love you. When the kids get in trouble, chasing the whole entire time, I love you, Flea. Flea, you still love me. It doesn't change my love for you. You're still in trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a simple
They
thing.
know
Just
that.
I tell Colby, thank you for doing the dishes. I just,
Right.
just a simple thing. Thank you. Just thank you for picking up food. It's the littlest things you can say that can just yeah, okay. You just help that person, like, okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's good. I think too, like knowing the season that you're in. Yeah. So for some of us, we don't have teenagers in our house. We are still at that point where it's like, well, we cannot leave unless we take our little buddies with us. So something that we started to implement, the three of us, was date nights. So that's key for your marriage, number one. And number two, like, childcare is expensive, y'all. So for us, I think a lot of the time we were foregoing that time just alone with our spouse because we were like, okay, well, that's the season I'm in. Like, I have little kids in the house. I can't go out on a Friday. And so for us, we sat down and we were like, okay, how do we make this work so that each of us can just like see our spouse once a week? That would be nice. And so we have implemented that one of us will watch all of the little grandbabies at one house so that the other
glorious grandchildren.
Yes. So that the other two can go on a date with their spouse and we rotate throughout the month. And that way, number one, I feel like all of the cousins are like loving it. Like they know on Friday they're going to be at my house, Flea's house, Brooks' house, and they're getting pizza.
Yeah. And they get to play.
It is a Friday night pizza night. So for them, you know, I'm teaching Bella. I try to be that's my 2-year-old daughter. I try to be very vocal about mom and dad are going on a date. And she knows that that's happening. It's not a secret because in her mind, yes, we're going on a date, but she's getting this time with her cousins. And it's very cool to watch that dynamic. But that's something practical that you can do. So whatever season you could be going in right now with other family members, think about, okay, how can I meet you where you're at? How can we lean on each other and come up with like a practical solution to help one another?
Yeah. And if it's not family, say that you don't have that like siblings or anything like that. It's your community, your close like friends. Like I guarantee you ask your girlfriends, hey, listen, do y'all want to do this? They will jump on.
They'll be so
100%,
glad.
yeah.
And I find it interesting too because, you know, date night has been my number one advocate forever. That's when I tell people all the time, you need a weekly date night as a spouse and you've got to figure it out. And so I love that y'all tip that and you keep doing it. And I love it more that you help each other and you come together and do that because it's hard to do all of that.
To go on with the support, I always like to talk about with my journey and my health journey, like this past year and a half has been something where I don't think if I hadn't had y'all's support throughout all of this, like we wouldn't have been able to function as a family. Yeah. And it's like, I know that if I get called to the doctor in the morning, like Flea's there to pick up King. You're next door if something happens. You know, Candace is my right hand at work and I don't even have to think about work because I know she's going to take care of it, you know, let alone that she gave me the kidney.
Right. So she's your right kidney.
She's my right kidney too.
Who wouldn't want this kidney?
Right hand, right kidney.
So it's like, you know, to find those people in your life and, you know, they may not be your siblings and they may not be, you know, but a community that you can have, that you can know that you can take a breath, you know, and that support is how you build that close-knit family. Because without that, then you're all on your own. You know? And I think that is the things that mean the most in all of that.
All right. So we like, and as we always say, we're trying to build a community with you. We want you to let us know what are the things that you're dealing with. You know, put them in the comments, things that you want us to talk about. You know, we really want, it's not a thing of you have come here to watch these 5 women talk. That's not at all what this is about for us. We're building a community with you. You are important to us, and we want to hear from you. So I think we could go on forever because we love to talk. So, you know, we're gonna go ahead and end it here at this one. So until next time, ladies, keep shining, stay empowered, and let's lift one another up one podcast at a time. Have a great day.